welcome here. There is a microphone. Those of you who have a question, please ask. But then there's a difference between talking like this and if you actually talk like this, then we can hear you. So, let me know who has a question. Yeah.
Hey there, my name's Sabrina. Nice to meet you. I wasn't present in the room from the beginning of your presentation, so I hope I won't be doubling on what you've already said. When you started out the company, were you in charge of the marketing efforts, or was there another co-founder who led these efforts?
I was in charge. So when you're starting out, right, it's very important to be like a jack of all trades and a Swiss Army knife. So then you got to figure out what is your zone of genius and your strength, and you got to fill that gap. So my co-founder is more technical and operationally focused. Use the mic. Oh. My co-founder is technical and operational focus, and I'm more product and GTM. And so really, when your startups are built in phases, right? Phase 1 is validation, then you get to product market fit. Validation is what? I got 10 people to pay me to try it out, for example. Product market fit is I maybe expand from 10 to 50, and those people don't leave me. They renew, right? And so in that phase 1, you're trying to get customers, and you're trying to get them to use it, basically. That's it. Can I go and get 10 customers by any means possible? And so it may not be marketing. It could be just like I'm picking up the phone, or I'm going to events and just evangelizing to get 10 people in the most efficient way possible. My focus is not building the best, most beautiful website or doing SEO, because those things are going to take a long time to generate. But if I pick up the phone or figure out who my target market is and then go to them and beg them to use me, then maybe they'll use me. And then somebody to deliver what you promised. So that's what you need. If it's technology or it's a service, you need somebody to deliver it, and you need somebody to get them.
One other question, if I may, if there isn't anyone here who wants to ask another one. So this comes with my personal background here and question. So I'm a person, I fit this profile of being a jack of all trades and working with startups, and this in some moments it can get really frustrating because you don't get to specialize. And you keep jumping from one thing to another. It's what you've mentioned in your presentation. I wanted to ask you, from your position of a co-founder and people manager, how are you tackling this in your team, and how are you helping your team go past this point?
So, there's two kinds of people, actually. There are people who like being in uncertain situations. Those are founders. They like doing new things, being a jack of all trades. I'm one of those people. I don't like managing big teams. I like using my hands. And you'll find those people. They're very, very helpful in your validation phase, in your product market fit. They're folks who can help you try new innovations and get it to scale really fast, right? So there's this very famous concept of innovators, settlers, and town handlers. So you got to figure out who you need for the role. Then you get to a point where you realize that, okay, SEO is doing really well, and I think the company can generate 10 million from SEO, so I need to build a team around SEO. Then you go and hire specialists. People don't change. You can't convert somebody who is one thing to another thing. Like you can try to do that and coach them, but it eventually doesn't work out, right? Because it again comes down to personal values. If I don't value being a specialist, if I love trying new things, then I'm going to jump around. And that's what you see a lot of times. People jump jobs because they get typecasted in one thing. So you got to find, I feel, your specialists when you've figured out what you need to specialize in, rather than, that's my learning, rather than trying to convert someone who's a generalist to a specialist. That was my learning anyway. Yeah. Maybe one more question.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Emil. I'm from Sofia, Bulgaria, and I'm also an engineer. And you told us that you're an engineer. So my question is, how did you make the switch from engineering? First, what type of engineer? And are there some hints to switch from engineering to sales and marketing? Did you feel it that this thing is inside you, or it's learned skill, or both?
You know, there's nothing inside you. Everything is learned, right? People say entrepreneurs are born and all of this. That's all BS. I think everything is learnable. You just need to have the desire for it, and you need to have the passion for it. Also, sometimes having no money is a really. So when you have money, then you become comfortable. Having no money, poverty makes you forget a lot of things, right? And so my first job was in a startup. Now the startup had no money to hire all kinds of people. So I was in product management. I'm a computer engineer. And I had to learn to sell because they didn't have customers. And so what am I going to build if I don't get customers? And then I needed to drive traffic. So I learned to build a website and I learned to do SEO. So poverty, and because I've only worked at startups or done my startups, poverty is a very good way to learn new things. So if you want to be, if you, say you want to do skydiving, what is the best way to learn? You can sit and read all about skydiving and you can, pace yourself and listen to motivational videos. But the best way to learn skydiving is to jump from a freaking plane, right? And so that's the thing. If you want to build a startup, you got to learn to sell. And the best way to learn to sell is just go and do it. Like get a job in sales, and sometimes people may not give you a job in sales, and so maybe you do a side project, right? Maybe you build a startup on the side and you try to sell and get 10 customers, and you read and you may know 2 or 3 salespeople that you respect, you shadow them, you ask them for advice, you learn, and then you apply it, right? And then you do a little bit every day and you get better and better at it, at selling. If you don't do it, though, if you don't take the first step, you'll never get better at it, right? So that was my move, is I went and worked for a startup. And they needed some jack of all trades, so I said it works really good. Or they didn't know they need a jack of all trades, they just didn't have money. So I needed to learn those things.
Great, thank you.
Can I add something with my experience?
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're currently in engineering and you're super happy with engineering, you don't need to go to sales, right? It's not a necessity. But if you desire to go there, ask yourself the question, why? Do you say, but those salespeople, they earn more money? Then don't do it, right? Because you're not going to make more money if you're not a natural salesperson. But if you say, you know what, I love connecting with customers. Actually, I do a little bit of sort of technical support, and every time I do technical support with a customer, I just feel this matter of accomplishment. I feel satisfied when I've done that. Then you're probably the right material, and then by all means, do this, right? Start just doing it. But if you're not the material, it needs to come from inside you as well, right? It's not something you can just learn and then just to go through the mechanics, because then you'll be a bad sales manager.
You need to have the passion, but you know what I found is that, how do I put it? When you start a company, you may have passion for the problem that you're solving, but you may hate sales. But then you don't have a co-founder who can sell. So then you're like, so one of us needs to learn it. So one of you guys have to learn it, right? So if you're really good at engineering, find a co-founder who's really good at the go-to-market, the selling. But if you're not, then maybe you have to learn it. So it depends, right?
All right. I think that concludes it.
Yes, thank you so much. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for your time.
For that other one, yeah.
Okay. See ya.